Okay, so now we're going to be doing a little spackling, and all we're going to be doing is filling these holes. But to fill holes, so on all these holes, see how it's kind of poked out there a little bit. You can see they're kind of sticking out. So what we want to do with them holes, just concave them just a little bit. So you're just going to go around and concave, not a bunch, but just enough to get that edge off of that lip. And then you're going to put a hole around it. That's alright. You just want them flat or more so. You can tell that somebody went over this and they didn't do that, and that's why you've got these big old pieces there. So instead of having that, see, like this one right here, use a big old hole, and now it's just kind of poked out. When you put paint over it, it kind of emphasizes that. So what we're going to do in here is we're going to mud all this. I'm going to show you how to do a knockdown finish on this. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be decent enough. It's going to be with flat walls. You can see every imperfection, but with a little bit of a texture, it's harder to see that stuff. So anyways, what we're going to do is just take our little bit of mud here. We're going to just use a, I don't know, it's probably a 3-inch. And then you just want to grab just a little bit, not much, because we're not doing big holes right now, just a little bit. And all you want to do is just come up here and just fill them and then run it over them. Fill them and run it over. Fill and run it over, flat. And then that's going to harden up. And then when we go over this with the mud, it'll make it a lot smoother. So like I said, you just fill, smooth, fill, smooth. There's a lot of holes in this wall, so it's just going to take a lot of spackling to get it just right. And you know, you could use mud to do this too. I'm just using the spackling because it's a little bit harder than mud. So you can kind of see the consistency of it. No. Not right now, bud. I'll let you help me sometime. I'll show you how. Okay. This hole right here is the one I'm talking about. What you'll want to do around it is you'll just want to put a whole bunch of mud around this. And then you want to stick some tape on there. And we'll stick tape on there and we'll go over that tape. And then of course we'll go over it with a little bit and just leave it flat. And then once we roll it and go over it, then it'll be good. I don't know. What? Excuse me? Always go over it light one time, and then you can come in. You just want to make sure all your corners are down, and then they are. And then what you want to do is come in and fill any low spots. So all we're doing tonight is texturing the walls. We're just using a little bit of mud mixed with a little bit of water. I don't know, it's actually a little thicker than what it probably should be. But it's just a little thick, but it's not bad. Gum up your roller and then just daub it on. And if the more you put on like this down here, the thicker it'd be, the thicker your knockdown will be. We're just kind of going for a thin coat, nothing much, but you want it to start getting dry enough to where it pulls that out away from the wall, to where you've actually got something to work with when you pull it down with your, we're actually using a little putty knife tonight. But that's what you're really wanting, is to see that kind of little mountain tops, it looks like, on the wall. And then when you get that, then you'll come back over it and just drag it straight down with a roller. It seems to me like the best bet is to roll up a few times and then drag your roller back down. And it kind of, so you kind of want to go up and down a little bit and then just straight down, and it brings all that out. We already went around most of the room here, so we just got this wall left and the other wall down there. And then after we get that done, of course, after we get this wall done, I'd say we'll have to go back over it and knock it down. This wall's been knocked down over here. As you can see, it's kind of rough, but it'll work. I think a part of the problem is it's old paneling that's been painted over, and it's hard to get that mud to actually come up off of the wall. Alright, so now to knock down, you want to clean your knife off, and we normally use another tool that I used the last time, but it's gotten warped and it don't work real well. So this is what I usually used. It was a lot longer, and you could make a swipe down it, and it would cover a lot in one area. And but now it's a little rough. I don't know. We'll try it real quick, see what it does, and if it don't, we'll just re-mud and do it again. But you've got, see this? I don't think it's gonna work. See all these little cracks? You really can't have them when you're doing knockdown, because whatever crack it has in it, it will tend to leave lines. These are actually from stuff that was on the floor that it picked up in the roller. And all these little lines are stuff that we grabbed up off the floor. So we'll have to go over that with a roller again and smooth them out with a little bit of mud. Or you can also buy the texture in a can and go over some of them areas just with a, and then it's done. And maybe hit it down real quick, and then you'll be done. Instead of going over it with a whole nother roller, because then you mess up the whole side again. But what you want to do is you just want to take this and you want to look at it, and a lot of times you want to use the back end of it. There's two sides. There's a beveled side and there's a flat side. If you use the beveled side, to me it seems like it creates divots on the side. So I turn it around and I use the flat side. You keep that clean. And you just start it wherever you left off, and then you just run it down according to how dry the mud is. You just run it down your wall. Now, sometimes it almost looks like powder coming off because it's so dry. Now this side here is a little wetter. We're gonna try it and we're gonna see. We'll see if it's ready or not yet. So on the wetter stuff, you just want to barely put it against the wall and drag down. And as you can see, it's doing a pretty good job at texturing. There's no hurrying though when it's wet. If you hurry when it's wet, you're gonna get a real bad finish. So you just wanna come up to your top, wherever you left off. Don't even hardly wanna apply pressure. I'm just barely touching that wall. And all you wanna do is just slide it down all the way to the ground. And then of course this is a little drier down here. Okay, so you can go a little faster on the dryer. But on this wetter stuff, you really want to take your time. Barely any pressure at all. Mostly just like you're floating it over the top of it. And then at the bottom where it dries up, we can go on out. So we'll just keep doing that once we get over here to this. So this was a big hole in the wall, about 6-inch hole in the wall that we filled the other night. I don't know if we got a video of that or not. That was a big hole. It's pretty smooth now. You can still kind of see some areas where it was a little rough, but it's pretty smooth for a person that never does drywall work. When we get over to that, I'm going to show you. See, now it's starting to harden up, so we're going to go a little bit faster. There was another one of them little pieces of floor that come off in there. So this is one way to do knockdown textures without a gun. But most of your drywallers will use a gun just simply because it's faster and it gives more accuracy to the work that they're doing. Looks like we've missed a little spot right here. It looks like there's a little bit of a dry spot there or something, I don't know. Alright, a little bit of a smudge. So, still using the back side of this. This was just put on right now, so all I'm going to do is just barely touch it. And barely touch this, because I went over that pretty hard. So we're just going to barely touch them. Start up there. Work your way down. You can see I'm just barely dragging it across that. I'm going to get down to this patch spot. I want to just barely drag it across the patch spot. Come on down to this dry and drag it on out. Do this one more time and then I think we're going to have that section done. Now this is not uniform at all. Anybody can do this and make it look halfway decent and not know anything about drywall. But if you really want to get good at it, you'd have to have a lot of practice because it's something, if you don't do it every day, you're not as good at doing it. But anyways, that's how you knock down a wall with this is just a plastic one. We got a few metal ones around, but this is just a plastic one. And it worked pretty good. You can see around the room that some areas are a little heavier than others, but once it paints, it should all blend in and make a decent little texture to this wall. Next up, we're going to be going ahead up with the ceiling. We're going to mud the ceiling, show you how to stomp finish that, or crow's feet. The ceiling's a lot easier to do because all you got to do is just roll it, and then you just take this here deal, pick it up real quick. This here deal, put it on a pole, and just walk around and just hit the ceiling. That's it. That's all you got to do. So it's almost foolproof. It's not like these walls. Walls are a bit more harder, and I don't like them at all. So they're going to turn out the way they turn out, and we're going to like it. Whoa.
trying to get it all the same consistency.
See, let's see what it starts out to be like real quick. Let me,
Yeah, go ahead.